Hello, everyone. I'm super happy to open our webinar. My guests today are Philip and Nick, and we are going to talk a little bit more about AI and real estate. My guests are both from the tech world and the real estate world, so we are going to talk about real life applications and what the future has for us. Could you please introduce yourselves?
I guess I'll jump in there first. My name is Philip Calloway. I am a real estate broker from Miami, Florida. I am the broker owner of Influencers Realty Group. I've been in real estate now for about 8 years and love Propy, I'm a crypto certified agent. I'm an elite pro agent and just really love all of the forward thinking that Propy brings to the table to help real estate move into the future. As we all kind of know, real estate is a slow industry to adopt change. So I like the fact that Propy is helping push change and help keep us all on our toes.
I am Nick Davidoff. I'm a venture capitalist, founder, and I'm an AI enthusiast. I've been investing and making AI startups for the last 10 years. Yeah. Back when nobody called it AI, it was machine learning models. But yeah, you know what's the difference between AI and machine learning?
I think that would be really curious for our viewers.
Okay, so it's super easy. If it's written in Python, that's probably machine learning. If it's written in PowerPoint, then it's probably AI.
In PowerPoint?
PowerPoint?
Yeah, I've heard a lot that the term AI is more of a marketing stunt than an actual thing. And the actual thing is machine learning because it doesn't have real intellect the way that scientists
because of all the marketing, they had to come up with a new term to describe what we used to describe as AI. They now call it AGI, artificial general intelligence.
I did see that.
Yeah, but that, like, if you read like an Isaac Asimov books, any of the sci-fi I grew up with, they just used AI for like a sentient robot that could understand, maybe sometimes even feel. But now it's AGI. We have AI, which is not G. So it's funny. Okay. So yeah, it's just I'm super glad you guys invited me. I'm like very excited about Propy. Like I got a story that makes me even more excited about it. So a friend of mine is my co-founder. So he's the guy who created this like triple camera for iPhone. So he was buying a house here in Cupertino, California. And the house had like a big discount on it. It was like relatively $500,000 cheaper than it should be. So when he started digging in, the guy who was selling it, he inherited it. He said like, oh, you see, like there's a problem with this house. So you see this, like this porch, this beautiful porch is illegal. Like we don't have a permit for it. So this is why I'm willing to sell to the house like with a $500,000 discount. So my friend, he's like a true nerd. He goes to the city council, digs into the archives, and goes to like asks if they have any backup copies. So he does a lot of research. He goes and looks, and he ends up finding that 60 years ago, like one of the previous owners has actually got a permit for that porch. So the porch is totally legal. So he comes back to the guy and says, hey, I'm willing to take the risk. So he buys the house with $500,000 discount. And so the idea of a distributed ledger on blockchain is just such a great idea. The idea of making all like real estate transactions digital and making people able to pay with crypto. Who would want to keep their money in the bank right now? Because banks are unless you invest your money in something through the bank, there's really no need to have it. Like cold storage, wallets, this is all we need, because money in the bank is money in the bank's balance. This is money that bank owes us. It's not the money that we own that is somehow in the bank. It's the money that the bank owes us. So I'm a big crypto enthusiast too.
Absolutely. I love how this year we showed that blockchain is also so much more than crypto.
Mhm.
with our title and escrow, and the coolest thing about it is that it eliminates wire fraud. Like, you cannot have blockchain and wire fraud in the same sentence. Like, they
Yeah, you
don't
cannot lose $500,000 selling your house because you didn't know that some records existed.
Right.
Yeah, it's like really, really good, and it's one of these like real life technology applications. And I love that we managed to bring that to the larger public. So
Mhm.
it's pretty cool. But Philip, have you had situations like that with illegal purchase?
It's funny. I'm actually dealing with something right now. I'm doing a short sale where the seller has almost $100,000 lien from the city. That when I initially took the listing, all the research I did said it was only 50,000. So we priced the house accordingly. We were like, okay, we know there's this 50,000 that he owes the city on top of this, X, Y, and Z. We get into title and we're finding out that there's more money that's owed. That, to Nick's point, if we had a distributed blockchain ledger where everything was out there, I would have known this from the jump. I wouldn't have been finding out 4 weeks into the transaction that this is going on. So definitely, I'm seeing the drawbacks, right now of not having a system that, everyone can access.
Absolutely. Like, we talk with agents every day, like dozens of agents, and I've heard so many horror stories, like so much of them. But on the bright side, that's good for us because it means more business for us. And agents are generally like, everyone has a title horror story, and we swipe into the rescue, which is like really cool. But let's get back to AI. So right now, the hottest thing on Instagram, on Facebook, it's Lensa. And we have Nick, who is literally the first investor in that app.
Yeah, that was a wild ride. So I'm no longer a shareholder. I sold my shares in 2020, sadly. But I made good money on it. So because this is the second time the app is successful. The first time the app was called Prisma. It was 2016. And the team got to 120 million users worldwide. We got both app of the year on iOS and Android, which never happened before. Like, Google and Apple would always pick different companies. Like, this is the first year they picked one. And that's also a tragic story of a company that was about to be acquired by Apple, Google, Snap, all of these companies, and like none of the deals happened. We have, if you guys watched Silicon Valley TV show, this is basically documentary of our lives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had it all. Like every like possible stupid like bullshit that happened was happening to us, from like patent trolls suing us to big corporations copying us, and then it's pretty wild. But I'm super glad that the team has cracked it. They made a really awesome product using generative AI. It's based on Stable Diffusion, which we're going to talk a lot, I guess, about today. So the thing is that, well, technologies such as Stable Diffusion or OpenAI's DALL-E, or text-based technologies like GPT chat or GPT-3, or there are other neural networks. They are amazing, but like a general audience cannot do much with them. That's the problem. You have to be usually it's like people say that GPT chat can replace engineers because it can write like a really good code. The problem is that to be able to ask GPT-3 to write really good code, you have to be a good engineer. You have to understand how things work, how to ask questions correctly. So there's going to be like a new discipline of prompt engineering. It was like, how do you design the questions to be asked? So what Lanza did here is that they used a lot of their internal technologies, including their like machine learning based technologies, to properly prompt Stable Diffusion to produce the results they needed. So it's like if you just use your own ideas of how to get or try to describe yourself, or even upload a photo into Stable Diffusion, try to get, AI generated profile pics, that probably would not end well. So there's a lot, I give them a lot of credit. They absolutely rocked it this time. I don't know the stats because I can only be guessing, but based on my estimates, and I have a good eye for that, they're making north of 2.5 to 3 million per day right now. And I am assuming that they are profitable because they're not spending anything on marketing. I like all of the celebs and all of the people, like the most they've done is repost, like Hobby, the one of the like biggest TikTokers, or maybe the biggest TikToker. The guy who does like this. So he posted them yesterday, like for free. And that was nuts. I like it's just a movement now. But so they're getting all of this marketing for free. Probably they'll go out of fashion in a month, 2-3 months from now. There's like the curve is long because it's normal distribution, the bell curve of how innovations enters our lives. So we're still like in the beginning, but then there's like other countries, developing countries, there's going to be like a very, very long tail of that. But still there are features, they have features that gonna make them financially very successful. So I'm glad my previous fund is still an investor. So our LPs will be happy.
Nick, when we were offline, you had mentioned AI versus AGI. Where does Stable Diffusion kind of fall in that category?
Oh, it's all AI. We are very far away. It's like AGI is as far as nuclear fusion, and there's Kapitza's constant. This is called. So Kapitza is a famous physicist, a Soviet physicist. He said that at any given point in time, commercially viable nuclear fusion is 30 years away. So, and it holds. It was 30 years away in the 60s, it's 30 years away now.
Oh, okay.
Even though we had really, really good news from Livermore just across the street here. So the lab produced more energy than they spent in the fusion process. The problem is that the energy that they spent in the fusion process is like 1% of all the energy they spent on the experiment. So it's probably still like 30 years away. So the same thing with AGI, where like probably a lot of years away from actual AGI. It's close. And there's one philosophical side to this is, how do we define AGI? What's the like usually people would say like it's an AI that is conscious, and then I would ask like, what's consciousness? And they're like, philosophers were discussing what's consciousness since ancient Greece. They have not, achieved any breakthroughs there. Physicists tried to figure out what consciousness was for the last 100-something years with experiments. Now they are mapping human brain. They spent billions of dollars in that, and they were successful at mapping 1 cubic nanometer of a brain, which is like, I don't even know how to compare this. Basically, it's like it's a grain of Miami fine sand.
This was a really solid flex. Thank you so much. You really got us into thinking. Definitely, like machine learning and AI, as we call it, it's there are a lot of moral questions around it. Like, is it really intelligence? Can it be intelligence, like ever? But I think that like Philip and I had a brief conversation before the webinar, and we were talking exactly about how even so imperfect as it is right now, it's really helping out, and you can put it into work for you. Like with generated images, for example, or with text generation.
That's the biggest breakthrough. Like I just want to say, so we are witnessing the biggest tech breakthrough of our generation. So what OpenAI is doing with GPT chat is, first of all, it's the fastest, like forget Lensa. The fastest growing product in the market right now is GPT chat. 6 days, 1 million users. 1 million users in 6 days. This is like 5 times faster than Lensa or Instagram or Path, or well, like 20 times faster than Spotify. This is the absolute craziness of that. Is that like when it's not great but not terrible when electricity replaces steam engines, or steam engines replace horses, or when robots start replacing human labor, because it takes time. It takes a lot of time to penetrate the markets, manufacture enough robots. We are fucked, guys, because this time we're automating knowledge workers. We're automating the white collar people, not the blue collar people.
Yeah, but I think to your point, Nick, like we were talking about it, you mentioned it earlier, like you can't just, I've been playing around with OpenAI, and it's not going to replace me, like as a real estate broker. There are certain things that I need, like I have certain knowledge as a real estate broker
Philip,
that I got
we
to put
lost your
Absolutely.
audio.
Now,
into the system.
now let me argue. It's not probably not going to replace you, because you are like on the edge of adopting new technology. You're an early adopter of technology.
Okay.
But this is going to make you so much more efficient that you will replace 2 other brokers and push them out of the market.
I can see what you're saying. So
The
there'll
same
be
thing.
so we'll still need brokers and agents, but we won't have as many.
Yeah. It's the same with like spreadsheets and accountants. When spreadsheets first appeared, another example. Do you remember this amazing movie, The Hidden Figures, about 3
Yes, the
mathematicians at
astronauts.
NASA? I
Yes.
love it, absolutely. But the one fact that I love the most about the fact is that their jobs are called computers. They were working as computers. So they were literally replaced by computers. And what do we see? 2 of them started working in coding, so they became programmers. One became a theoretical mathematician, so they had to pretty much change their jobs. And the same thing is going to happen with even with engineers. So one of our investors who was playing around, like fooling around with GPT chat and building a really awesome product, he's building Zoom summary. So it's called Summary. The moment you close your Zoom call, you receive an email with a summary of who said what and who, like all of the action points. Really cool. So he said that he was like 10 times more efficient and effective than he would be without GPT chat. It's like he programmed a new app in a new language, in a new framework, with using tools that he has never had experienced before. He's an engineering director. He doesn't even like write code anymore, but he has this technical knowledge that allows him to ask correct questions. And that just made him 10 times more effective. Imagine what happens if like every knowledge worker becomes not 10 times, just 30% more effective. That's going to send shockwaves across the economy. That is going to be worse than COVID.
Honestly, I think that it's actually going to be like really good, and I am looking at it from the other end.
It'll be good for some. I can see that argument that it'll be good for some and bad for others. The late adopters, the people who have had their head in the sand and they're not paying attention to what the newest trends are. I still see the agents who like to talk about the fact of life when there was no MLS. I'm like, I don't know what that's like. I mean, I can't think like that. I mean, I'm trying to think of what life is going to be like when the MLS is open sourced and everybody has access to the same information. How do I create a better value proposition? So I think to Nick's point, like if you're an early adopter and you're on top of things, it will make you a lot more efficient and effective in the real estate industry, but it will kind of push out those people who are doing it for side hustles. They're not taking it seriously. They're not investing in their training and, technology overall.
Absolutely, and I'd like to like just give a few words for the people that are here for the real estate, because I think that it's actually giving so much more power to like forward-thinking real estate agents like yourself. We were just talking about GPT chat before we started because Philip is using it, And there are like other tools like Jasper, for example, that can help you write your listing or automate your emails, but like make them sound personal. Literally copy the style and the way that you're writing and make it so much more effective. And on top of that, like the way you, Nick, explained it, like with the machine learning, it makes things like calculating mortgages, lending, all that like becomes so much more faster. But then again, at the end, we've all seen how like the three of us have tried like Stable Diffusion, Mid-Journey, all that. And we know that the end results needs to be moderated by a human, because if you give it like the full power to just create stuff, it doesn't really make sense because the thought is not there. And I think that this will create an entirely new niche, as you're saying, as like people who literally create prompts. That's what I'm doing on Instagram. And I have this group of 1,000 people and we just exchange prompts. And I tried this and I see that Stable Diffusion is learning from what I like to see. So you can literally do an interior design as if you like put enough work into it and like kind of get used to it. Philip, how are you planning on using all of this AI into your work?
So I think it's simple. I mean, you can take something as simple as like a product like Lensa, where you're using Stable Diffusion to, stage a property. Like it looks great when you're just, doing your profile picture and it's all fun and games there. But then when you're talking about you're going for that multi-million-dollar listing and you need to stage it properly and you need to have those things. So, I mean, there's that, right now aspect of it. But as we were talking about the whole OpenAI and ChatGPT, where I can create not only better content, I can create it faster than I would personally do it. Like we were talking about not having writer's block. I was in my OpenAI and I was just like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to try something new with marketing and AI. Give me some examples of some things I can do right away. And it spits out the information right away to me. And so once I have access to that information, it's my choice to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to take that information and make my business more efficient, more effective, and create that value proposition that separates me from the 60,000 agents we have here in South Florida. Or, I don't know what it's like in California, where Nick is, how many agents there are, but I mean, there are a lot of agents. And so when we talk about what are you going to do to separate yourself from everybody else, you're having access to OpenAI and ChatGPT and Stable Diffusion type products, those do put you in another category from everybody else.
Absolutely. I think there's so much more. I'm friends with our local agent who's like everybody knows him in the neighborhood, and that's what separates him from the competition right now. I live in the neighborhood of Los Altos Hills. It's I think third most expensive zip code in the U.S. this year. This is crazy expensive. So in this kind of neighborhoods, agents go to like extra miles. So to create and maintain a community of people that they sell to and source properties from. And I think for them, it's just all of the tools are going to be super effective. There's a company that I wanted to mention called Let's Enhance. Ukrainian founder Sophie Shvets. They're San Francisco based. They were focused on like enhancing images, making them like higher resolution. Now they're experimenting with all of the generative models. And what I really like, they are making a product for e-commerce, for all this, the industry of drop shippers who, source stuff from Alibaba. They stage it, they make it like nice photos of a family of like on a nice modern kitchen with a dog running around, this perfect like kind of feeling that Americans would buy, and then they sell it for like triple price on Amazon. So they made a product that allows you to take a photo of of your product, like just like this, and then AI replaces the background with what you want it to be. So for houses, I guess you can used similar stuff, and I think it's going to be like 1 month maximum before we see like an stable diffusion based tool for real estate agents that gonna change, how um, the clouds behind the house look, or the weather, or make grass greener and nicer. Just replace background, change lightning. That's going to be I think we like from 1 month from now. This is the most time we need to produce this innovation.
This is absolutely amazing, but let's all of us like list a couple of AI tools that can be like really helpful and are user friendly, because I think this is the part where it's going to make the biggest difference. You can use Lensa and just filter your photos and have these beautiful pictures of yourself and use them on social media or whatever, or you can dig deeper, use stable diffusion, use it to alter images and all that. And I will start with one of my favorite tools, Jasper.
Mhm.
I told you about it. It's pretty cool. It's using the same engine as basically everyone else, but they're using more libraries, and it's eliminating writer's block. It helps you write content. Like, for example, you have a listing, you have hundreds of listings, and you need to write everyone down. So this helps you immensely. Philip, what would you recommend?
So I think OpenAI is very similar to Jasper. I haven't played with Jasper yet, but when it comes down to me creating a prompt, putting it in and asking for feedback, or creating if I want to create a Facebook ad and I say, hey, this is the group of people that I want to create target in my Facebook ad, and OpenAI will create that copy for me to use. And then I think it's something like, we're not going to use Lensa per se to, do our listing photos. But when you're talking about, removing something, changing the background, it goes way past Photoshop. We've all had a day where we took a picture where the skies weren't necessarily cooperating. The weather wasn't necessarily cooperating with my photographer when I went to shoot the listing. But now I can do way more than just tune the colors. I can actually change what the background looks like and make it work. And so that, and then not only that, I'm able to input furniture. I'm able to create a more of an appealing look using the photos, and using AI with the photos versus just taking pictures and slapping them up there and hoping that the house sells.
And I think that's just the first step, because give it 1 year, you'll have a tool that will assess the person who's looking at the photo and will create a targeted photo for them, just for them, that will work with them. It's like if they hate dogs, you don't want dogs in the picture. But if they're like dog people, you want, like 3 beautiful puppies on the sofa there. They're like, my puppies would look good on that sofa too. I want to buy the house.
Or I'm interested, how Instagram will sometimes, if you post a group of pictures on Instagram and maybe the first picture you chose isn't the picture everybody likes, well, they'll re-show it now using the algorithm. They'll re-show that same post that you made, but they'll change it to the picture that everybody is liking. Yeah. So I can think of how, using AI to get to the point where, hey, well, maybe this particular picture that I posted wasn't the best picture of the house, but one of the other pictures is getting more traction, and now it's the algorithm or AI is swapping to show the person the picture that is the best picture of that house. I think all that is something super, super cool.
Yeah, this is we're really seeing a lot of innovation. So I don't know what to like. Speaking about my favorite tools, I'm trying lots of them. Like we're building some like in our investor community. So we're building this like Xamarin thing. We're building a no code RPA thing. I think it's going to be like a big thing. So RPA is a robotic process automation, or robotic process assistance, basically a tool that allows you to automate some of your workflows. Like if you have to, do job list, property listings, and you have to describe them. You can pretty much automate this flow, and you can, instead of doing this manually or having a person do this, you can just like tell AI, hey, here are the photos of the house. Here's the link to its MLS listing. Make a new listing for me, and it's just gonna make it and post it for you. So you'll focus on the more like human aspects of the job.
Right.
But the best, I don't know how to, we're in the very beginning of this phase. It's the storm just starts. So I cannot recommend like any particular tool. I know OpenAI is going to be a crucial part of it. It's probably going to be the centerpiece. Some say it's the new Google. Some say it's bigger than that. But I think like my strategy is like the way I start my day. I go to Product Hunt. So producthunt.com, and I have my filters set up, and I have people that I follow there. Like really good advice for everybody. If you want to keep up with technology, it's where all of the new products that people build are listed. So there are hundreds of apps built on top of GPT chat already, maybe even thousands. So if you spend your time to set up the filters and scroll and like companies that you actually like, your morning is going to give you like 1 or 2 new tools to try in your work, and it's going to be a lot of fun and maybe a lot of money too.
Thank you so much, Nick, for that. Unfortunately, we have to wrap it up, but I'll make sure that we follow up with this topic because I think that this was a really interesting conversation and I have so much more questions for both of you. So a few last words from you, Nick, maybe some tool that is very user-friendly and all of the agents can just like try to tap in the technology.
You mean like some app or something, or?
Yeah, some app, something that is very user-friendly that you need no technical background.
Okay, absolutely. The best thing in the world right now, GPT chat. So you just Google Chat GPT, and it's gonna take you to it. All you need is register, and that's basically like a chatbot. So you can talk to it. You can say like, "Hey, what can you do for me?" Or you can copy and paste text in it and ask questions, and you can ask to rewrite something. And then if you don't like some parts of what's been rewritten, you can ask to change them particularly. So just go wild. I'm seeing people go to extreme creative distances. It's like yesterday I saw a game, a text-based RPG somebody created with that. So you could actually ask the chat, says like, "Hey, pretend you are a text-based RPG, play with me." Like, I'm Harry Potter, I wake up in Hogwarts, and like I have 100 health, let's go. So, and it starts imagining scenes for you and like options, and that's a lot of fun.
Revive the legend of the Green Dragon.
Yeah.
Philip, how about you? How do you feel about AI? What is your key takeaway? What are you trying after this webinar?
Well, I'm definitely going to check out Product Hunt and Jasper, like you guys have mentioned. As you guys know, I'm already a fan of ChatGPT and OpenAI, so I'm on those, but I definitely want to check out this Product Hunt and check out Jasper to see how they can make my life easier, how I can become more efficient. At the end of the day, I think that's what's the most important thing, is that we as real estate professionals become the most efficient we can, so that we can, I find it interesting when I'm talking to new agents about all the things that they do throughout the day that aren't generating them business. And so when you think about, okay, well, what are the things that I can do that are going to help me generate business? What are the things that I can outsource? I've got a VA, but even my VA, what can I use AI for so I don't have to ask the VA to do it? And literally just kind of stepping up the levels and just going from there. But I think that there's endless opportunities, and like Nick said, next year is going to blow our mind because there's going to be even something more and more out there.
Yep.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today. I can't wait to do this again because it's a topic that's so close to me, and I'm really excited talking about it and learning how to apply it in real estate as well. And thank you to all of our viewers and listeners. And we will make sure to be back soon. Join us again next Wednesday.
Thank you so much for having us,
everyone.
Thank you for having us, Joanna. Great job. Great to meet you, Nick.
Likewise,
Okay.
Philip.
Bye
Whoa.
bye.
I think it was pretty cool. I think it was super